Zafira. This video is going to go over the pickup group strategies used on the Elemental Data Center to resolve the mechanics in Asphodelos, the Third Circle Savage of the Pandemonium raid series, also known as P3S. This is not a general P3S guide, and we'll assume you have some knowledge of how the mechanics work. First up are the macros. There are many variations to both the Japanese and English macros out there, and there are a few things you should always look out for when you join a party finder. While the spread for Darkened Fire is generally the same, be sure to check the spread for the transition, as different macros can have different spread positions. Some macros will also tell you how to spread for Experimental Gloryplume, so make sure you know where you need to go. Another important thing to check is what strat and spreads are being used for Firestorms of Asphodelos. There are two strats generally used by PUGs here, which are Inumaru and Tuufless. Always check to make sure which one you're doing and how you need to spread out for the mechanics. There is a lot of information in this part of the macro, and we will be going over it in more detail later. Next is the Waymarks. A, B, C, and D are placed in cardinal positions on the outer ring of the arena, while 1, 2, 3, and 4 are placed just inside the inner ring, also in cardinal positions. Moving on to the mechanics. The boss is usually tanked north of the arena, but if you are lucky enough to have a ninja in your party, the boss can be pulled south instead at the beginning of the fight. Darkened Fire is placed in intercardinal positions on the diamonds around the ring. Brightened Fire is then placed on the number markers 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4, and then we go around again so that 5 goes to 1, 6 to 2, 7 to 3, and 8 to 4. This can be difficult to see at first, so experiment with the angle that gives you the best view of the number of squares on your head. It may also help to remember that odds are blue and events are pink. Once the Darkened Fire becomes vulnerable to damage, attack the one that is clockwise from your position, which is to your left when looking at the boss. For Devouring Brand and Experimental Gloryplume, when it is a single big orb, the priority is to go to the northwestern quadrant. For multiple small orbs, wait until the first explosion hits, then go to the safe quadrant to either the northeast or northwest. When moving into the safe quadrant, the party always sticks to the right hand side to bait the AoEs, then moves counterclockwise to dodge them. For the double tank buster after Cinderwing, the party always moves back to the center of the arena to stack south of the boss so the tank can take the tethers. Be sure to check the macro for the transition spread or stack, as there are many variations, so make sure you go to the right place. During the ads phase, the party divides into the MT group and the ST group. The MT tanks the north and west birds, starting north then moving counterclockwise to west, while the ST tanks the south and east birds, starting from south then moving to east. When the tethers appear, if you have 2, move to the bird opposite of the one you are tethered to until the tether turns purple and stand to its left. If you only have 1 tether, move to the bird opposite of the player you are tethered to and stand on its right. For the spread or stack Experimental Gloryplume, as mentioned before, some macros would tell you where to go to avoid hitting each other. The party is usually divided into the melee group, tanks and D1 and D2, and the ranged group, healers and D3 and D4. The melee group would have the north or west priority, while the ranged group would have priority on moving south or east. Move into the explosion and spread according to the macro. During Fountain of Fire, the party is once again divided into the north or west group, which comprises H1, MT, D1, and D3, and the south or east group, which has H2, ST, D2, and D4. The two healers will soak towers starting from the cardinal position they are responsible for and go around clockwise on the outer edge. The tanks and DPS will then go inside the boss's hitbox to bait their AoEs in pairs as indicated in the macro. Place the AoEs near the towers in order and move directly across the arena to stretch their tethers while avoid hitting other party members. There are a few strats that are used to deal with Firestorms of Asphodelos, but the two that are used most often by the majority of PUGs in Elemental are Inumaru and Tuufless. Once FOA starts, imagine that there is a horizontal line going across the arena, dividing it into the north side and the south side. In the Inumaru strat, the north group has the tanks and the melee DPS, D1 and D2, and the south group has the healers and the ranged DPS, D3 and D4. Each group would dodge the fan AoEs by moving into the first telegraphed slices on each north and south side. They would then stack or spread according to the macro. After the second fan AoEs, H2 baits the north tornado, while H1 baits the southeast one, and D3 baits the southwest tornado. The two tanks would take the tethers and position themselves at max melee northeast and northwest of the boss to avoid baiting the conal AoEs from the boss. D1, D4, and D2 would line up to the south of the boss in its hitbox to bait one conal AoE each from the boss. After the boss casts Dark Blaze Twister, the party groups up on the side of the Black Tornado and moves clockwise to bait the ground AoEs until they circle back to the Black Tornado. The melee group gets knocked back to southwest relative to the Black Tornado, while the ranged group gets knocked back to the other tornado to the southeast of the Black Tornado. The party then stacks or spreads once again according to the macro. The Tuufless strat is similar to Inumaru with a few differences. Instead of grouping the tanks with the melees, in Tuufless, healers are grouped with D1 and D2 on the north side, while tanks are grouped with D3 and D4 on the south side. Each group moves into the first fan slices and stack or spread as indicated in the macro. For tank tethers and tornadoes, H2 baits the north one, D3 baits the southwest one, while D4 baits the southeast tornado. The tanks take tethers and stack inside the boss's hitbox to bait two AoEs from the boss and use invulnerability to survive the damage. D1, D2, and H1 stack together to the northeast and bait one conal AoE from the boss. Dark Blaze Twister is resolved in the same way as Inumaru, with the healers and melee going to the southwest, and tanks and ranged DPS to the southeast relative to the Black Tornado. I hope this is useful for everyone who is looking to raid on the Elemental DC. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also support me on Twitch, Patreon, and Ko-fi. Good luck and enjoy raiding. Bye for now.